Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Kendra Copeland. I'm a meditation teacher and a yoga grandmaster, and I teach a trauma informed yoga practice, predominantly on the traditional territory of the Kwikwetlem First Nation, where I live and where I'm streaming from today, but also in Vancouver as well, on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. Today, we're going to be exploring a practice called Yoga Nidra. And this practice of Yoga Nidra is one of my favorite practices because it's an accessible practice. It doesn't require a lot of movement. In fact, we're going to do this practice either laying down or seated, which Desmond is going to model for us as well today. I do have a couple of quick notes that I want to make before we get into the practice here. And I'm going to go off of my little screen here because I just recently changed my prescription and I can't see as far as I'd like to today. So as I, in this moment, begin to kind of reflect on the season that we're in, the state of the world that we're in, and also my interconnectedness with both the people in it and the natural world around me, I find myself contemplating the nature of change and the purpose of rest. Right now, when we look outside, we see a kaleidoscope of vibrant colors. And autumn really serves as a poignant reminder of the inevitability of change. And nature's transition from this lush green of summer to these fiery red and golden yellows of autumn, it really mirrors the cyclical nature of our own lives. And as the trees begin to shed their leaves, we can also use this as an opportunity to tune into nature's gentle reminder to let go of the beliefs and attachments that no longer serve us. As these leaves begin to fall, they also offer us a lesson in surrender. As these trees release their grip on the leaves, trusting in the nature of, trusting in the wisdom of nature's wisdom. In much the same way, we can also learn to release our grip on our worries and our fears, our expectations on our bodies, and surrender to the flow of life. And in this surrender, we can find deeper peace and connection to the present moment. Autumn also speaks to the impermanence of all things. So these once bustling trees, now stripped of their foliage, stand as stark reminders that everything has its season. And in our own lives, the seasons of joy and sorrow, of growth and decline, of health and a lack of health, they come and go. And through this reflection, we can cultivate gratitude for the preciousness of each moment, knowing that nothing lasts forever. In autumn, we're also invited to turn inward. And just as the trees prepare for their season of rest and renewal, we too can use this time to nurture our inner selves. We can cultivate resilience and adaptability and strength, much like the trees that weather the changing seasons year after year. And as I often remind my students, trees don't produce fruit year round. They produce fruits during a particular season, and then they're not overly attached to where those fruits wind up either. Some of them are carried off, they're eaten by animals or people. Some seeds rot and they're fruitless, but even those that drop and end up not being consumed, nothing is lost in that process. Those seeds still decompose and they go back into the tree and they nourish the tree. Trees have a lot of wisdom around knowing when they're at their capacity to bear their fruits, and they know when to stop bearing fruit, when to drop their leaves, and when to go dormant and rest. And while it looks like nothing is happening in this state of rest, of dormancy, something very subtle and vital is occurring in that time because those dropped leaves, those fruits begin to break down, and those become the source of nutrient for the tree to come back in the following season. In yogic philosophy, we call this wisdom dhyana shakti, or wisdom energy. We recognize that energy is inherently self-organizing. If you plant a carrot seed in the ground, for example, it's not going to come up as a pear tree. It's going to stay as a carrot seed, and it knows exactly how to be a carrot perfectly. And in that same way, you know exactly how to be you perfectly. Your body already contains infinite wisdom and information, including how to rest and when to rest and how often, and how to create the right conditions for rest as well. And so as we enter into this practice today, what I want to just say is that this is an offering, and I encourage you to take from it what serves you today. You'll be invited to close your eyes, but if that doesn't feel right, you don't have to. If you don't want to lie down or you're not able to lie down, you can practice from a chair. And of course, at any time, you could sit up or shift your body in another position and change the practice up in a way that better serves you. Now, for this practice, we're going to practice some deep relaxation, and sometimes people do fall asleep. So just know that that's okay. You don't need to shame yourself. Sometimes when we're really hungry for rest, the body can go all the way into deep rest. It's not the purpose of this practice. We are going to try to stay conscious and meditate throughout this practice, but it does sometimes happen. So just be aware that that may happen for you today. Now, as we get started, I want to invite you to find yourself in a comfortable, either seated or reclined position. I'm using a bolster and a block here today to support my back, but I've also got a rolled up blanket here, which I'm going to place underneath my knees. And sometimes I find that my temperature can drop when I'm in meditation. So I also have a blanket, which I'm going to put over my legs. If you're using a chair today, you'll want to find a position where your lower back is supported by the chair and that you can place your feet comfortably on the floor. So that may mean that you need to use maybe some blocks under your feet or even a folded up blanket or pillow so that your back is able to relax. And the invitation with this practice is to begin by observing your natural breath. So you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to change it in any particular way. We're just noticing the natural inhalation, natural exhalation of the breath. Your breath might be coming quickly or slowly or somewhere in between. Your breath might feel shallow or really full or somewhere in between. You might notice the touch of your breath in your belly. Maybe there's a natural expansion and contraction of your stomach or your rib cage. Or you might experience the breath more in the chest area, maybe as a subtle rising and falling. Some people also experience it as more of a rocking back and forth. See if you can observe the breath without judging it or critiquing it. Simply allowing the breath to come and go. And allowing your attention to follow the breath all the way in and all the way back out. As you notice your breath coming and going, you might also begin to notice other parts of your body. So you might begin to scan through your head and your face. Beginning to notice any sensations that might be in the neck or the shoulders. And again, you don't have to like or dislike them. They don't have to be good or bad sensations. We're just noticing what is occurring. Maybe there's some sensations in your arms. They might be in your joints, like your shoulders, your elbows, or your wrists. They might be in your forearms or your hands or your fingers. You might begin to focus some attention into the torso, noticing your chest. Again, maybe it's moving with the breath. Noticing your abdomen, your digestive organs. Scanning down through the back. Becoming aware of your hips and your legs. And again, you might notice different joints in the area, maybe your knees or your ankles. And then beginning to direct your attention towards the feet. Full attention in the feet and the toes. And it's here we're actually going to begin the practice. So the invitation here is to start by relaxing the toes. And if you find it challenging to connect with your toes today, one thing that you could try is giving the toes a squeeze as you inhale, and as you exhale, allowing the feet to relax and return back to a neutral place. And you can do that as many times as you want to or need to. And you could try that with different parts of the body as we move through this practice. Contracting the muscles on the inhalation, full relaxation on the exhalation. Relaxing the muscles in the top of the feet and the soles of the feet. Again, that might look like pointing the toes away or drawing them back towards yourself on the inhalation. And as you exhale, relax. With each exhalation, more relaxed. Allowing the heels to sink into the floor or into your mat or couch or bed. You might begin to soften the muscles in the calves, allowing the lower legs to become heavy. Releasing any tension from the space around the knees. That might be above the knees or below the knees. on the sides or behind the knees. Full relaxation. Releasing any tension from the thighs. Allowing the body to become a little bit more heavy. Not too much effort required. It's better to do the practice in a relaxed state than to do it perfectly. If you're clenching any muscles in the buttocks, also relaxing those. You're welcome to rest the full weight of your body. Any muscles that you don't need to use to sit upright, you're welcome to relax. In fact, you're encouraged to relax and rest. Relaxing the abdomen and the digestive system. Again, that could look like contracting the muscles in the belly as you inhale. And as you exhale, allowing everything to soften. Relaxing the muscles in the chest. And as you move your attention up the spine, also relaxing the muscles throughout the back. You might start at the base of the spine, and as your attention moves upward, allowing the back to relax with each exhalation. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And allowing the arms to become heavy. Again, not too much effort required. Relaxing the upper arms and the space around the elbows. Relaxing the forearms and the hands as well. If you're clenching your teeth, You might begin to soften the jaw, and the muscles in the face, the muscles around the eyes. The expression on the face is neutral and relaxed. Still mindful of the movement of your breath. And it's here we're going to begin our actual meditation. Again, I want to encourage you to observe with a calm and neutral mind, without judgment or critique. And the invitation here is to just notice any sounds you hear. They might be close or far away, loud or subtle. Many different sounds received through the ears. You are aware. Inviting you to notice the taste in your mouth. Again, it might be strong or subtle, familiar or unfamiliar. You are aware some taste is present in the mouth. And also aware of any scent or smell in the atmosphere. Again, it might be strong, might be subtle. Maybe you recognize it or you don't. Maybe it's difficult to perceive at all. But whatever is your reality, you're simply aware. Aware of the intensity of light reaching your eyes, whether they are open or closed. Might be bright light or subtle light. And aware of the temperature of the air on your skin. Perceiving the subtle touch of the atmosphere of the room you're in. Allow your senses to guide you back to the present moment. Gently come back to your senses. Calm and neutral observation. And when you feel ready, you might choose to give your body a bit of movement. Some people like to give their head a bit of movement by taking the head side to side. Or even squeezing their shoulders up towards their ears, or rolling the shoulders back. Some people like to stretch their arms out above their head and lengthen through the back. Others prefer to give their wrists a bit of movement or stretch their fingers out. If you're laying back, you could choose to bend your knees and put your feet flat on the floor. You might take the legs side to side, or you might remain neutral. If you're using a chair, you might choose to gently twist and give your back a little bit of movement. Or you might give your ankles a bit of movement by making some small circles or even wiggling the toes. So gently making your way back into your body, into the room at your own pace. And when you open your eyes, just so you don't have to look directly back at the screen, you might just allow the light to come back in. You don't have to focus on anything in particular. And should you choose to change positions, you might begin to make your way back to a comfortable seated position. So take your time as you get there. And just know that this is a practice that you can come back to at any time. At any time, we can tap into the present moment using our five senses. And it's often a lot easier to do from a place where we are relaxed. You can do it from your computer chair. You can do it when you're walking about. You can do it from bed. So again, this is a really beautiful and accessible yoga practice, a really good way to come back into the body and come back into the present moment. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to share it with all of you today. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time for a Q&A, but I do want to let you know that you can always find me on social media under my name at Kendra Copeland, or please feel free to reach out by email. If you have any questions about the practice that we shared today, I'd be happy to answer them. And again, thank you so much for having me here to share this practice with you today.